Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I'd like to call the Finance Committee meeting for February 1st, 2023 to order. Could I have a roll call, please? Here.
Here. Here.
Here.
Tillotson.
Here.
Here.
Maybe you're muted.
Okay, so.
Am I muted?
No. No, Jim, you should hear me?
I can hear you, okay.
Okay, you're fine. Councilor Roy is out of town, so he will not participate. Participating from Zoom today will be Councilor Brooks, Councilor Tillotson, and we also have on Zoom participating for us the project supervisor, Quinn Lonzak. Okay, we have two orders tonight. Order that the Finance Committee meet to discuss financial issues associated with Bluebird Acres Mobile Home Park. This was brought forward by Councilor Dobas, and I'm going to turn it over to Councilor Dobas.
Thank you, Mr. President. I fully support Costa's administration. I think this is one of the best things that Mayor Costa did. It was a public-private partnership between the city of Chicopee and the Bluebird Acres Mobile Home Park. And basically, I'm sure my fellow board members are kind of aware, right, their septic failed, and now they were put on sewer, and the city of Chicopee paid half that cost, and Bluebird Acres paid half that cost, and now connected to Lumbo sewer, by extension, Springfield sewer. You know, it was a pretty good agreement, and it allowed all those people to keep their homes, which is majority elderly and you know, poverty households. So I actually do support that deal fully. Unfortunately, there was a lively mobile home rent control board meeting a few months ago. I want to say it was July, I don't really remember. And I was explaining this deal, and the residents at the time had asked me for a hearing so they could review the deal. You know, that was a few months ago. Unfortunately, I was just sick this past week, and I didn't have time to rally residents. You know, I do support the deal that Costa's administration put forward. I know Julio's here, I'm sure he worked on it, so thank you, John, for working on that deal. You know, I want to thank Bluebird Acres Mobile Home Park for working with the city and keeping the cost down. Unfortunately, I wasn't able to join on Bluebird Acres to get people out to this hearing, but really, I just filed this just for residents of the city, you know, so that they would have a chance to come and speak to us. So I know this deal went, but I filed it a few months ago, and I just didn't have time to rally residents in time for this meeting. But I do support the deal, and I do appreciate everything that the former administration did to pass this deal, and I'm in full support of it, and you know, hopefully this will be a model going forward for other parts of the city.
All right, thank you. Anyone from Councilor LaBrie?
Yeah, is the sewer operational right now, or is it still in the works?
Yeah, it is fully operational right now. I think what they're still working on, there's some meter issues. I think the owner, from my understanding, is trying to put individual meters on mobile homes within the park so that they can bill people appropriately. I'm not sure if that's done. So like right now, for example, whatever the total sewer cost is, I think it's just even, they just make it even and send everybody a bill. Right, and that's not really fair because some people use more than others, and now they're trying to meter it to make it fair. But it is operational.
So the infrastructure's completed or almost completed?
Yeah.
Thank you.
Councilor Balakir.
Yeah, thank you. Are there more issues that have popped up now, and can you expand upon that, or we kind of put sort of a lid on some of the issues? Just.
So just, if I could, before you do that, we also have an attendant just showed up, is Department of Public Works Supervisor Liz is here, so if anybody has questions for her too. Thank you.
Yeah, I'm sure the Superintendent Batista or John Bolio, I'm sure they can answer more of these questions than I could, but from my understanding, I don't think there's too many issues. The only disappointing part was that when we originally made this deal, we were hoping that some residential homes next to the mobile home park, we were hoping they would be able to go in the sewer as well. Okay. But it would be additional cost because I guess it's a hilly area and they would have to put in another pump from my understanding, I mean, the superintendent can give a little more detail, but I think there have to put an additional pump station to get more homes on the sewer. But I think for the Bluebird Acres mobile home park itself, I don't think there's too many issues, right, Liz, with this?
Liz, could you
You just walked in.
take the mic?
Good question, I'm sorry.
No, pull it. You can pull it to you. It doesn't, the mic is on live.
Yeah, thank you. Now, the question I posed, Supervisor Batista, was if there are additional issues right now at Bluebird Acres besides the ones that we had with the sewer issues. Is there anything new that's popped up, or if the other issues kind of quiet and we only have the sewer issues? But could you shed some light on that? I didn't know if there's any further issues, I know besides the sewer and the water issues, if there's anything else in the meantime that's popped up at Bluebird Acres.
With Bluebird Acres, we've been having some issues, not with, nothing that I think impacts the residents. It's been more on the pump station project. We've had some issues that have come up with, the electrical, work, the pump stations, which is being addressed.
Mm-hmm.
But otherwise, water is not Chicopee water over there, it's, something like that. In terms of the pump station itself,
Okay. All right, thank you.
Thank you. Any other questions from the floor? Any questions from Zoom? Okay. That's it. John, you have anything? No, you're all set? Everybody's all set? Okay, I'll take a motion to, place on file if you like.
Motion to place on file.
Motion made and second that the item be placed on file. Roll call, please. Oh, I'm sorry, we have to wait a minute. Our administration had to run downstairs, get some more paperwork. So we'll wait 1 second. Thank you.
John. Hi, Fred. The guardrail, did it get cracked pretty good? Yeah, I'll get a couple of pictures. Thank you, Frank.
You're welcome. Again, I apologize. She had to go get some paperwork that we would need for tonight's meeting.
I'm going with that, yeah. Not taking my wife. Is that a boyfriend? Joe Wag. Some sort of, the 2050s, that was, nice, the ball. I think that's when he's I haven't even heard of 61 grand. Nobody's brought that up in my opinion.
Okay, we're going to take roll call on the Bluebird Acres to place on file. Roll call, please.
Lamb,
Yes.
Yes.
Alakir,
Yes.
Yeah.
Tillotson,
Yes.
Brooks.
Yes.
And the motion passes. Thank you, Derek, for that. Okay, and item number 2 on the agenda will be ordered that the sum of $100,000 be hereby appropriated to the following name account, law expense accounts for special services. Said amount is to be taken from the stabilization fund. This was, requested by me to send to finance to discuss. So that is on what we're gonna be discussing now. And here tonight, we have with us from the law department, we have, Marcia Moriarty from the law department. We have Dan Garvey, our counsel, and we also have Mr. Riley, Tim Riley from the law department also. Okay, I'm gonna actually start, on this tonight, because I'm the one who asked to have this brought forward, and then we'll go into some things. So, as you see in front of everybody here, unfortunately, some on Zoom may not see it, but, I've had some paperwork put together for questions and that to see what a law department is. So, if you bear with me, I'm gonna ask different questions and bring some stuff forward, and then we'll go on to other, counselors, that's okay with everybody. So, could you explain who's in the law department and what their title and position is to do, please? Thank you.
Marcia Moriarty, I'm city solicitor. Tim Riley is the assistant city solicitor. Mark Alvano is the associate city solicitor. Jack St. Clair is the, his current title is chief of litigation and labor relations. Dan Garvey is the counsel to the city council, and Kevin Corrigan is the associate city solicitor. There's also two paralegals, Chantal Paul and Andrea Johnson.
Thank you. My next question will be, you have requested through the mayor for $100,000 from the Staples for litigation. And looking at this litigation, it said for litigation for the Uniroyal and the Nice case, correct?
That is correct.
Okay. So the $100,000, was any of that money used for any other issues?
We haven't received it, so
No, when you receive it, what, will it be used for any other?
if there's some surplus, I may apply it to other types of expenses, but currently, just for your information, this year alone, in the Nice trial, we have spent, over $83,000 in legal expenses. We also have, for, Lou Moore with the Uniroyal, he gets $6,000 a month, for his retainer, to provide environmental law, advice and counsel to, planning department, and other issues that we have, that concern. So those are the majority of what the request was for. We haven't received the final bill on the Nice trial, which, was somewhere, which included preparation and 13 days of trial work. We haven't received that yet. We were fortunate that we found a verdict for the city. The last demand that Nice made was $1.8 million for the city, and that was prior to trial. So we were very fortunate to have a person who had 35 years of experience on litigation and did over 50 civil trials in both Superior Court and U.S. District Court. The trial course was successful. Just for the understanding, the town of Watertown suffered a $4 million judgment against them with their similar back case, as well as over $1 million worth of legal fees. You want to spend its expenses, I understand that, but I think overall the city should be actually well served by that. And we do know our Uniroyal, we're moving forward, and hopefully put together a plan for the final development for the Uniroyal. So that's what we're trying to.
Thank you. Would that be under Lou Moore?
That would be Lou Moore, yes.
It would be. All right, thank you. My next question is, we received a thing, and thank you for all the information you put together on behalf of the Finance Committee to review. I'm looking, one of the particular ones that I want to discuss a little bit is the problem properties, which you have sent to us a list of things for problem properties. In some of the comments that I heard, we have over 50 of them in here. I don't quite count 50, but it's not the number that counts for why I'm asking that question. So going through this, we had Chantel, who used to be in this position, correct?
Chantel?
Chantel was in this position, yeah? I'm not Chantel, I'm sorry. Chrissy, I'm sorry, Chrissy, correct? Okay,
That was part of her responsibility.
okay.
Yes.
And she, unfortunately, we didn't get a numbers of how many she did, per year of problem properties that she solved and took care of. That's not in here. We do have in the back of the file here, with no dates on it in your paperwork, there's, some said, resolved and or dismissed. There's probably, 20 here, but it doesn't give the year it was done. Is that for,
Attorney Riley can answer that, but actually since August of 2022.
from August of 2022?
Yes, when I first started looking at the problem property, or I call them distress properties, which deal with not only the quality of life and security, but also the public safety, retention of citizens staying in the city of Chicopee, as far as a number of other areas, that affect every aspect of life, I think, in the city of Chicopee. We only had 6 cases that were pending in housing court, when we look at it in early August, July of 2022. Since then, what you have before you is the record of what we've done since then, which I think is an enormous amount of accomplishment, that we focused because it was great deal of concern on the part of the city councilors, that we addressed the issue of problem properties, some blights in the city of Chicopee, making sure that those things were addressed efficiently and addressed properly. And that's what we've tried to do over the last few months.
Okay, thank you. So I'm gonna go back into this list that you've done. So we hired, Mr. Riley for this position, for problem properties position, correct?
No, we hired Attorney Riley as the assistant city solicitor. At the time that Chrissy Cool left, that was the only position that was available. The mayor made a recommendation that Attorney Riley, based on his qualifications, background, as working in the city of Springfield, and he had originally worked for the city of Chicopee as council for the city council, or was overall.
Yeah.
He also worked in the city of Springfield in the law department. He has extensive background in real estate.
I'm not questioning his knowledge.
It wasn't just for problem properties.
Okay,
It was
but-
part of his responsibility.
Okay, you just answered by saying it was part of it. Okay, so being part of his responsibilities, no different than, Christy had back in the days. She was able to handle that. And the reason I bring this forward is, two reasons. We hired another lawyer, Mr. Ryan, I believe it is. Okay, so we now paying him about, I believe, over $30,000 already for services, correct?
We haven't paid him over $30,000. What we paid him, I can tell you right now,
Close to 30,000.
paid him, no, that's.
He's on retainer?
Right, well.
Okay, let me take 20,000, let me take 20,000. I'll take 20,000. And the reason I say that is, I'm not sure why we're getting outside counsel when we have Mr. Ryan, Riley, I'm sorry, I gotta write that down because I get you guys all the time. Mr. Riley, that was hired for this position. I get you can, people are throwing this at me, oh, we have 50 open. I've read some of these, I'm looking at some of these. And I really would like to know how many, this other lawyer, Ryan, did for the city check. How many of these is he working on?
Council, I can tell you, that so if you look at the list, it's to 24, I think.
Yeah.
Okay. He worked on all of them. Of the 3 that are cases in suit can be dismissed for compliance, there's another 3. Then you want to get to the case not properly, that was another 10. The result of dismissal were all this year. Some of those are in suit, some weren't. But I wanted to give the council an accurate picture of what we've been doing. So
when, Attorney Pakula was here, there were 6 of these cases were in suit. I can tell you which ones they are if you want to know.
No, that's okay.
So from
Unless they
6
want to.
to, and that was only because she had a wide range of responsibilities, as do I. My job is not just to handle problem properties. I can read off a list, or I can give you the list that I do on what I do for the city. It's a lot more than housing court. But, she had 6 cases, just because she had a huge workload. So, for example, 6 Silverbrick, 165 Front Street, 18 Beaton Street, 15 Nora, which I think Councilor Balakir is well aware of.
Yeah, we are.
Right.
Okay, let's not, yeah, let's go with this, now,
Your question,
please.
all the ones on the list you see that say you're in suit are the ones that pretty much.
Okay. Okay, so what do you do? No, really, why are we paying this money when we hired you, and my understanding, you don't do hardly any of these? Tell me what you go to court and do.
The information again, sir, is inaccurate.
Okay,
So what I
enlighten
do-
us.
I do legal, I can give you my list of responsibilities, 2 pages of what I do.
How many times have you gone to court on these?
I don't have to, that's not what I do.
What do you mean that's not what you, I guess my point being is, when Christie she was going to court, correct? Well, but we're hiring another lawyer.
They
Yeah.
addressed that, because part of this was looking at the situation at the time. And as Attorney Riley has said, and I have said, there were 6 cases in court. Christie Pakula was overwhelmed by the amount of work involved, with all the work that she did. God bless her for the work she did. However, when you look at the type of work in housing court, it's a specialty. Just like any work, we have other counsel, such as we have labor counsel, we have counsel for workers' compensation, we have counsel for environmental. Housing court is very much of a specialty that has to be addressed. When I looked at this situation and I listened to the city council, the people complaining about the inactive action on the part of the problem properties or distressed properties, we have to take immediate action. I looked at that and I said, what's the best way of doing it? We needed somebody internally, who was Attorney Tim Riley, to deal with all the department heads and people and all the complaints and the city council begin to address it. We need somebody like Tim Riley who has background, and we're talking, he's either 2 or 3 days a week. If we have a staff member, we have to go down with, that person would have to be in there 2 or 3 days a week, and nothing else will get done in the city of Chicopee for that individual. You will be totally tied up. And if you look at what's been done, it's been remarkable. We had people complaining throughout the city that certain things weren't being addressed. Now they're being addressed. When I talked to the mayor and made the recommendation for an outside council to begin to address these issues, the issues were, let's do this for you, let's bring us to as much compliance and as much addressing the problems as we can. Within that year, we take a look, May or June, what we need to do next year. Now, the mayor has to make a decision based on the budget. We're talking $30,000 as opposed to another attorney, or we're talking another inspector or anybody else. Mayor has to make a decision whether or not that's a wise use to make that recommendation to the city council for appropriation. That's what we're doing. We're trying to catch up on something that the courts they were dormant for 2 years. I don't know if you guys forget about COVID-19. The courts did not act for 2 years. Things were tied up. People got ill and sick.
I know the
No, I'm serious. All those things you have to take into consideration when you look at this. And what needed to be done was immediate remedial action to do the best for the city of Chicopee, do the best for the citizens of Chicopee. That's what we adjust. That's what we're trying to do at this point. Now, what Tim Riley does, he does a multitude of things. Things that I don't think that someone would be able to work with the department heads and prepare the cases that are then turned over for litigation or into housing court unless they have a backup. I don't think they're legal to do that. That's my opinion. I think the lawyer needs to sit down with the department heads, go over, find out exactly what needs to be done, how do you put a case together, what type of claims. We have a case right now that we're pending. We want to act on it as quickly as possible. We what needs to be done, there needs to be pictures taken, there needs to be evidence that in fact the violations are occurring, that's the type of evidence that needs to be presented in court. Well, I'll give you one perfect example that took an enormous amount of time, among Attorney Riley's time, Attorney Ryan's time, and my time, was 165 Main Street. The court order, as far as responsibility of the court purpose, ended on April 30th. The city of Chicopee then took over by court total responsibility for that project. And if anything had happened during that time, we would have been very serious difficulties, not only as far as what you do with the building runs, center of town, what do you do? What do you do with liability? Who is responsible? So we worked on that, three of us worked on that for months. And finally, in November 21st, to have a decree that, for purpose is responsible for the authority, responsible for the repairs, responsible for the liability. City of Chicopee is now named as far as the insurance, the loss paid. All that takes time and effort. And you couldn't keep going to the court and do the same thing. That's what you need to do. It's not just a simple thing that, well, you go to court. So anyway, just give me your background.
Yeah. Thank you. I do, excuse me, I deal with housing court myself. So I guess I was misled when we did this position for Mr. Riley, because it was for problem properties. And my understanding of problem properties was to go and deal with them, plus do the courts for us. I was shocked to hear that we were hiring an outside consultant or lawyer to go to, just to do the, and it's a lot of work, I get that, to go to housing court, when Christie not only did that, she did more. I would have wished, would have asked for a copy of all what she's done before without hiring another lawyer. And that's what I think hurt her, when she was overwhelmed, but yet we were not told that we were bringing an outside lawyer for 30-something thousand, I believe. And when's it, and my question is, when's the end game with this, having him as our consultant for problem properties?
I can't give you a definite answer, but I can tell you that the initial plan was to do this for a year, bring us as much as we possibly can, because now, as we all know, that there's continuously problems in the city of Chicopee. No, I'm just, there's continuous problems. What we are trying, what the mayor will have to assess that, and I can't answer for the mayor.
I'll talk to him.
My recommendation might be at that time, is I'll make a recommendation to the mayor. The mayor will have to make a determination whether or not he believes that it's in the best interest to continue with Sumner Housing Board, or to see if we can transition a staff member to town house. And that will be his decision. So I can't answer that question for him.
And I'm not gonna harp on it, but I thought, Mr. Riley was hired to take care of all going to court and everything. I didn't think we were gonna get another lawyer to take care of the court case. Now, if you go to page, not your page, but on your thing here, I was, to go to, it says, cases not filed due to lack of funding.
I need to know if the funding is going to be there, so we're in signing the case, that's all. So
Can you explain that?
We're whole since probably the first or second week in January.
Yeah.
That's all, we're
Yeah.
whole, and as soon as the finance committee makes a decision, the city council makes a decision, I'll know when to allocate our resources that we have.
Yeah.
At this point, as I said, we've got outstanding bills of a little more, and with each file, and so until such time as I know what the appropriation is, then I will not, I'm not hands up.
Okay, so, and thank you for that. But, it'd be nice, we get these mayor's orders, and I'll give you a good example, a couple of them here, back in May of 2020. People ask me, you guys just give the money to the law department? We have one for $30,000 for special services. We have, one for 30,000, I'm sorry, let me get to the next page, I'm sorry. 25,000 special services. We got another one here for 5,000 for special services. And, it doesn't, I'm gonna request that we know what it's for. Because it's like we give you money, and then I find out that we hired an outside person. We didn't know that. I didn't know that. I don't know if any other city councilors knew that we had an outside person doing our problem properties, going through all our court cases, that Mr. Riley wasn't doing them, that we hired the mayor hired someone, or you hired someone to do it. So, and where's that money coming from? That it shows for the budget where that money is, coming out of. When you say, now you want 100,000, that's what got me. I know we're gonna need it for the Nice case, definitely, you're gonna need probably coming for more, for the Nice case and that. But when you see, this is only a couple of them, but when you see them and there's 5,000, 10,000, there's a lot of them. It's like,
I think when I sent those up to the mayor, I identified what 5,000 Williams,
yeah, that's the only one that was marked.
and the other litigation was Nice litigation, and then the other one was, I believe I said that in all three of them. I could be mistaken.
Yep.
Because it's all.
Okay, all right, I'm gonna let others talk in a minute, but I just, so, I guess that, my question is looking at this, is when, and I'm gonna have a conversation with the mayor too, is because I was just taken back that we had another person, because people are saying we have too many people in the water park. I don't agree with that. I don't agree. I think that everybody does a good job, but I just didn't know that Mr. Riley doesn't even go to do none of our court cases, for housing court. Thank you. Anybody else want to comment?
Yes.
Hold on, Jimmy. Counselor Balakir, then I'll let you.
Okay, all right, no, thank you. Thank you, gentlemen, for coming and trying to shed some light on this. I know that, in particular, Councilor Riley referenced 115 Norris Street, for example. So I know that there's a lot of moving pieces to get involved with this, and these do take time, especially what you had said about the courts. That I know that the courts kind of took kind of a hiatus, basically because, well, we had COVID and having the personnel. But getting back to the problem properties, we used to actually have a formal meeting. It was like probably at least once a month, where we would sit down with council and we would go through each particular line item that was there. Is that something that we can set up again? So that, say, for example, if Tim Riley's gonna be the point person, that we will set up a definite date so that we can go through what we did with Chris in the past. I think that would be helpful because there were particular counselors that were in on problem properties, and or if there was an issue in your ward, that you could come in and address it. And then in turn, we also had representation, for example, from the health department, the fire department. So I'm not sure if that's something going forward, if we're thinking about that, or if we could set that up.
I can tell you, I'm trying to go over to 35, but we presently have a monthly meeting with the department heads. When we incorporate, the city council side, I don't see that being a big problem.
Every month since November, we call it the distressed properties working group. It's just city hall staff. It's just health, building, John Boyer from DPW's there. We've had Chief Major's been there. We've had Chief Samborski's been there, or their representative. And all we do is we go through the properties as the point person for the problem properties.
Correct.
I figure out, I determine from the department what they need to be court with, and then what does need. For example, 5 Newell Street, I didn't need the ZBA meeting for that, and then I'm trying to work with DPW to maybe block the street. I mean, there's different issues for every case, there's a lot of different issues. One case I'm working on actually relocating tenants. So, yeah, we're happy we meet the first Tuesday of every month.
Okay, if I could,
DPW.
thank you. If I could just chime in, I think that'd be excellent to incorporate, having the counselors going forward, so that in turn, we kind of have a better idea as to what's going on, so that we're in line with that. So again, say for example, if it's in litigation, or say if DPW was doing something, whatever the case is, so that in particular, depending whose ward, or even looking at the picture of the city picture from a bigger perspective, for us to know what's happening, rather than It's great that law is involved with it at this point, but I think as being representatives of the citizens, it would be great to have us to be invited to come back to these meetings. I think that would be an excellent.
If I could say something too, you're welcome to call me directly or send me an email, say what's going on in Mary Beth Costello, sends me emails. Some other councilors, I think, Bill Shane had sent me some emails about certain properties, and I'm happy, I can just fire you off an email and tell you exactly where we are with the case.
Okay.
And if you say, there's a trailer that's blocking the street on this property, just send me an email. I will make sure that health and building go over to the, so that's another option.
Right, and I think, thank you, Counselor, that's interesting. I think we should have the opportunity to be able to go as well to this meeting, so that this way here, rather than necessarily wait for a response from email, that we could get something right then and there, so that.
Okay.
Okay,
The
so.
meetings are once a month.
Okay.
The email is, I'll get back to you within 24 hours.
I know.
You're welcome to come to the meeting.
I know, but again, and that's excellent, because sometimes we have other commitments as well. But I think at least to have that particular option, I think that would be great to be able to get involved again, because we did have that communication in the past, and I think that was helpful, so that this way here, you knew pretty much exactly what the status was of these properties, with the exception, of course, pending in court many times. We really don't know if it's just a file, or if there's actually something that the housing judge is making a decision on with motions that were filed, right?
So I'm just gonna, so the only issue I have with it, I don't have an issue with council meetings, but I think we may have an open meeting law issue. If more than one city council comes, there might be a deliberation, and that's an open meeting law violation. So we'll have to work that out. We'll figure it out. Okay.
Well, I think, if I may, we're gonna have to talk to the mayor, because this whole, when he was hired, we had a meeting, in this chambers regarding to what he was gonna propose to do under that, his position. The old way that we had a problem properties, correct me, I don't even go to your problem properties, it's not about potholes, it's not about the small stuff that we deal with every day, with, our residents. You don't deal with that stuff. No, see, that's what we used to do, and we're trying, and that's what Bill Cushane's trying to get back, because his is basically in a dome of, problem properties with real estate or other issues like that. Not the little smaller stuff, which means a lot for the residents, but that is not part of that meeting that they have. So let's have a meeting, get together maybe with the mayor on where we're going with the problem properties in the near future, and incorporate this one to that.
All right.
All right? Okay. So we're going to move on to Jim Tillotson.
Yeah, yes. We're supposed to approve $100,000 tonight. It says law expense account for special services. Why don't they tell us what they're going to do with the $100,000?
Great.
So that we would know what we're voting on. It's like giving them a paycheck now for $100,000. We don't know exactly how that's going to be used, or whether it's already been spent, and we're now paying the bills after we've already spent the money. So it would make more sense to me if they law expense account for special services, and they list the special service that they're going to use the money for, so we know exactly what we're getting into, rather than buy the $100,000 and not know how it's going to be spent. And I think that's something that we should look at, because then we would have a better idea of what's going on. So I hope we can make some improvements there. I mean, and I don't know what law expense account for special services, $100,000. I don't know what they're going to do with that $100,000. It doesn't tell me here on this sheet, and it should tell us we're going to fix this, we're going to do that, we're going to do this, or whatever. So we would know ahead of time what the $100,000 is going to be used for. We don't know that, so I think that's something that can be corrected very easily. If they don't have a use for the money, why are they asking for it? Thank you.
Okay, hold on. You all set, Jim? Any other?
Yeah, I'm set for now, yep.
All right, thank you, go ahead.
When I
Mr.
came to
Morris.
the request was very clear, so both the lease trial and for the extension of Lou Moore's contract.
Correct. On that one, there was, yes.
So when I made the request to the mayor, that's exactly what I put in.
Yes, it's in there.
Yeah, it's in there.
Thank you. Okay, next will be, Mary Beth.
Thank you, President Leclerc. Attorney Riley, I want to thank you. You always,
That's it before, so I
yeah,
need-
yeah, we talked on the phone, we do emails, but, you know, I appreciate you, you and Counselor LaFleur always get back, and I appreciate that, but, you know, as good as you are with the emails and, with the calls back, we have to do better communication. And I'm gonna tell you something, not only the law department, because I think the law department tries. There are a lot of departments. You make a referral, and then it goes into the land of Oz. Where does it go? And you're chasing, and you're writing notes. Did I do this? Did I do that? So in all fairness to the law department, you're not the only, department that, doesn't have a regular accountability flow chart. Believe me. And in all fairness, I think that with the amount of work the lawyers do in the city, you do a great job in trying to get back. But I agree with other counselors that we have to do better as far as these problem properties, because people contact me and say, geez, it's been 5 or 6 months and nothing's been done. So, in all fairness, again, you do a great job getting back, but Attorney Marshall, Moriarty, what would be your suggestion, through the chair? What would be your suggestion to keep us updated on what's going on, like what, Councilor Valentine is also referring to, so that we can help our constituents help themselves?
Well, obviously,
We should get this updated.
we possibly can, and are limited resources to provide you with the information so you can get back to your constituents. I think, you know, the emails one, that I have in the past, you know that.
Yeah.
Ask for a meeting with myself or some other councilors, more than happy. I've done that on several occasions with you. I believe several occasions with you in the past. Questions. You have those questions and you feel like there is need for an immediate answer, or the question has been delayed, or the response has been delayed, be more than happy to have a meeting. So the door is open to the city councilors. Properties, or I don't like that term, but guys call them distressed properties, can be, once a month. And the emails are another resource. And if the city council wants to have these, discussions on a periodic basis, I'd be more than happy to come if the president wishes to call a meeting. Most of them would have to be an executive session. There are certain things I'd like to discuss with you tonight, but if you don't, restricted in doing so because of ongoing litigation or possible litigation. So if you want an executive session, periodic basis, regarding litigation or distress property, more than happy to have that. So the door is open, the resource not only to the city departments, but also to the city council. You have a wonderful council in the city council, and I will be working with very closely. So Dan is another resource that you can reach to and ask Dan to follow up and see if you get an answer for you. I try, and I can't say that I'm perfect, but I try to get back to everyone within 24 hours. And I have, on most occasions, done that the same day.
I just
Those
want
would
to,
be some of the suggestions off the top of my head.
yeah, I just want to make, for the record, that in any time I had any dealings with any attorney in the law department, they have been polite, respectful, knowledgeable, and professional. And I can't say that for everyone. I definitely can say that for the law department. Just for the record, I've never met a lawyer I didn't like.
Yeah, okay. That was a good one. Okay, on that note, if I can, would it be possible, something like what we, this year we can get this monthly updated to the city council? where we are with this. This, I think Mary Beth, when I handed it to her, when I dare, right away said, oh, this is good to look at. And it gives them an update, if you can, and put the word, update, they can talk to the residents and our constituents, because it tells us a lot. And unfortunately, Shane Brooks and Jim can't see it, but there's pages of, all problem properties that, they wouldn't have to bother you if we get this monthly. So I'd like to see if, this is possible that we can get it monthly, to our office. We'll make the copies, if you can send it to Agnes, for everybody to get it, or email it to Agnes, and she can email it to us. I don't need a paper one every time. I don't want to waste paper. But this was very, a lot of information on here tonight, and where it's going. And then, and if some of this is going to need funding, or saying it's in funding, maybe you put a note on there, what's going to go on with that, where we are, or you're going to be coming for us for more money. It gives us an idea of what we're doing. So that's just a thought. We're going to move on. Thank you. Councilor Bree.
Yes, thank you. Thank you, Councilor LaFleur. Over the years, my ward has seen a lot of problem properties go to court, get resolved. And when we didn't disband problem properties, COVID happened. And, we used to go to that meeting, and I don't want to harp on it, somebody, already talked about it. But even before it gets to the law department, we try in-house to work with the health department, with the building department, before the law department actually has to take it, and then look at it. So we do our best to get things, but, a lot of things when I call on a couple of particular properties, and, I always get that one's in court. So this is the list of the ones that are in court. I know you probably don't have a list something that is maybe trying to get pushed up the court,
I don't have that, no.
Yeah, so you don't get that at all. At your meetings, you don't talk about things that, are potentially gonna be a court case.
Sometimes we do, but most of them, I'm the point of contact to get to court, so anything that needs to be, in other words, if the health has gone out, dropped 2 letters on the property owner, nothing's happened, they refer it to me, and then I get involved. But, there's a few we are talking about, it might be potential, but it's more about what we need to, or what we need to do today.
Okay, and I'm not gonna bring up, a lot of properties in my ward. I just wanna bring up one that has been a problem for 5 years that I know has been in court, and Cumberland Farms was gonna buy, or lease the property, from, Karen Romano and, Montemagny. And that place is still a disaster. I don't know how it's out of court, 677 Grattan is one of the addresses, but there's multiple addresses there. 677 is in the middle of the rug place and, bar at the inn. And I get calls from neighbors, constantly, and I know that one used to be in court, but I know we just had a big court case on it, about a year ago, or not even a year ago. And, we won the court case, but they're not cleaning up the property, so we're gonna get back on that. That's the only one I wanna mention, and, if you could look into that.
I'd be happy to, if you wanna send me an email with addresses, if you can call.
No, I don't want you to get them until we've exhausted the, board of health, the, building department, I think you guys, let them decide if it should go to court. That's how we always ran those meetings. We ran them, the police department, everybody had a say, and then finally they say, hey, let's put this one and give it to the law department. You guys shouldn't be bothered with the little stuff that can get cleaned up without having to go to court. You're just gonna push the people. And I think, some of the departments could do, a little bit better, but they do have a tremendous caseload, on, properties that people just don't pick up their stuff. We see it all the time in zoning and whatever, but, other than that, I'm amazed that all of these are in court. And then, I don't see a lot in my ward, but, a lot of them got cleaned up, right around COVID time, so. Thank you for coming in.
We've had discussion once under the alternative court. Court should be the last alternative.
Right.
We should be able to, the
And it's the absentee landlords that are the ones you guys are chasing. You know, if somebody's living in that house, we normally can get them to clean it up. You know, and from what I'm told, city councilors can't go on somebody's property and talk to them about cleaning up their property. So we dish it off to the health department and the building department, you know, somebody that can actually, talk to them about that. But, thank you for, coming in tonight.
Okay, we're gonna go to Bob, but before we go to Bob, I just, wanna apologize. I just have to, announce that in compliance with the Massachusetts open meeting law, is anyone audio or videotaping this meeting? Of course, there is no one here tonight. We are, videotaping this meeting for further broadcast, so I just wanna make that note, and I apologize for not saying it a little earlier. Thank you. Counselor Zagorowski.
Okay, I just have a couple of issues, Marshall, and one is good and one is no good. On the good one, I can see where I've worked with, Mr. Boron of the Health Department on 70 Pine Street. I started that going probably a year ago, and finally I see where it's been dismissed, because I go by it every day and it has been cleaned up. The inside's a real dump, I heard from Frank, but there's one that's a good one by working with the, Health Department, which I did do. I brought it to his attention probably a year ago, and finally it's cleaned up, so I'm glad to see that. Getting back to the in-suits, I'm gonna bring this one up because this has been on our mind for the entire council, probably for the last 6 years, maybe longer. The first one there, it says in-suits Silver Brick on Front Street, and then you go to the last page where it says success stories, 165 Front Street. I read what you said about a success story, but I'm just wondering if you could shed any light at all. And evidently, the owner here has got a real problem. I can see it. But do you know any light? I mean, we get people asking us, what's going on with that big row of buildings there before it gets on fire? Can you, what's, you can't answer it? Still litigation.
Exactly what's done, what we've done, and everything else. I can provide you with the first order of the court, the second order of the court, the third order of the court, these are public records. But if you want to get into the other details,
Okay.
I think I would have to do that in executive session.
Just that Silverbrook doesn't seem to have a good reputation, even in Springfield, or to us now, so, okay, I understand what you're saying. I understand what you're saying. Okay, thank you.
Again, that's where if something was, it's in litigation, that would help a lot of us. Again, there's another example of why this would not have even been brought up tonight. Okay, so let me see, anyone on Zoom? Shane Brooks, you have anything, or Counselor Tillotson again?
This is helpful. This is real.
All set, Council.
Thank you. I'm sorry, Fred, you were next on my list. I covered you up. Counselor Krampus, go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, Councilor Green and Councilor Balak here kind of talked about, you know, previous problem properties or distressed properties meetings. You know, it was, we were bringing up higher level issues, it wasn't about potholes and things like that. And I think as we touched upon was having, you know, sheet of paper like this that gave us status, because when it started to become more elevated, and it wasn't simply just sending out a violation notice from the health department, and, you know, those that got cleaned up we weren't really too concerned about was the ones that weren't going anywhere. And, you know, we did get a list, I think it was once a month, that it said, hearing date on, you know, April 7th, and so that, well, we knew if we had something on the list, you know, where it was, so that way on April 8th, if we wanted to come in before the meeting, we could, you know, contact the law department and say, I'm gonna go to court yesterday, just have an update. We have residents asking us. So I think,
To go to court.
and I understand about the open meeting law, deliberation, about having multiple counselors there, I understand.
Like that, the little ones.
We can, at least if we can get, you know, this list, with that information on it. And I think one of the other issues that used to come up, and that's what I'm, break it up here, but was repeat offenders, that it would go to court, and some of the other councilors mentioned it was on court, the property would get cleaned up, it would stay cleaned up for maybe 3 or 4 months, and then it was like the clock reset, and we had to go back through it and start everything all over again, and we go to court,
And of course, the resident who expects that would oftentimes be very upset, because they say, well, he's already been to court, what do you mean we gotta go through this again? So, I think that's just something to kind of figure out maybe in the future of how we deal with repeat offenders that, you know, go to court with, and just seem to be, you know, continuous thing that seems to start every year. There's certain ones that I get calls on that, okay, here we go again, and it goes on. I think going back to what was said about if we can have a sheet that gets emailed to us that tells us where these higher priority things are, like court cases and inspections or whatever, I think would be.
Councilor Kramer, if you want, you're welcome, like I said, send me an email with an address and say, I need to know what's going on with the case, and I will get back to you very quickly.
But it was always good to have.
Okay.
To look at other things.
Let's go through the chair, okay? And when you talk, just give your name, just so the recording, please. Thank you. Thank you. You all,
I'm all set,
thank you, Fred. Okay, now, anybody again, Shane said no, and Councilor Tillotson, and now we'll go to Derek Dobas.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'll be brief. I have a lot of quick things I want to say. I agree with everything my colleagues have said. I want to speak in favor. Well, first of all, Attorney Riley, I wasn't aware that you were handling the problem properties. I'll definitely be reaching out. I do appreciate your efforts. I'm glad that somebody has been appointed as the point person for problem properties, which is better than nobody that was doing it during the pandemic. But I do want to speak in favor of the old problem property meeting. Because it was really nice that councilors were able to attend. I attended a lot of those meetings with Councilor Balakir and LaBrie and Krampus. We were the regulars along with Shane. Right. And it was really nice to hear the department heads, you know, what they were personally doing about certain issues. And also we could go with the property before it got, like he said, before it got to the law department. Now, if you want us to bring you, if I have a vacant home that's been vacant for months and you want me to do that address, that's fine. But, you know, sometimes we can handle it before it got to the law department, right? We're just talking about, you know, we're paying you a certain fee and you have a certain caseload. If we could handle it with building and health with it before it gets to law, that could benefit the city a lot. So I just really want to speak in favor of the old problem property committee. I do think we should be allowed to go to that meeting, feel that we're locked out. But it's okay. I do respect it. This is the way that the mayor has chosen to handle it. I am happy that he at least appointed somebody to do this work, and I appreciate your effort in that, because it is a problem citywide, problem properties, and I will be contacting you for sure. The other thing I want to mention really quick too, regarding problem properties, you know, one, again, Councilor Shane has been pushing for fines, right? The feeling that, we never fine anybody or, you know, so I really want to look for repeat offenders. You know, I do think that's something that could be in the toolbox. And the only other thing too with problem properties for me is businesses are the main problem in my ward right now. And, I don't expect a lot of department to handle this, right? Because for some God unknown reason, we give businesses favorable treatment, and I'm just tired of seeing, you know, go to Walmart and you see all these trash bags in the trees, and they're blowing into people's yards. And same with all these, right, with homeless encampments. I know the police did a lot of work in there, and now there's still tons of trash, and all these call the council's office, and there's more trash. And so, you know, they should be forced to follow the same laws that the residents have to follow. And so I hope the law department takes that seriously. Walmart should not be getting special treatment. I think that's unfair. A couple other things, you know, I've said it in the past, I just want to say it on record. I disagree with the law department's position in Williams Park. I just hope that, you know, they meet with the residents. I've been trying to have a meeting. It's very hard to get a meeting with the law department, DPW, and planning, as well as the residents that have asked me for a hearing. But there will be a hearing eventually on the Williams Park. I want to give the residents a chance to bring up their concerns. And I know that the city and the residents can only say so much in case they choose to go to court. But I just wanted to bring that for your attention. For Jeff Neese, I fully support the law department and Jeff Neese. You know, I just want to reiterate that he's the only person that I've ever had to block on Facebook in 5 years of the city council. And I have to be the most controversial person on this board, and he's the only person I've ever had to block. And so I do appreciate your efforts on that. I guess, you know, again, you don't have to answer this question, but, you know, I guess my curiosity would be if Jeff Neese loses, will he have to pay some of the legal fees that we've had to put forward? I'd be interested in knowing that. And then finally, for Silverbrick, again, I don't expect you to answer these questions. We're not in executive session. But I have a lot of questions about Silverbrick, right? So, you know, will Silverbrick ever have to pay the city back for the security that the city had to pay? is Silverbrick paying taxes? Because on the city website, it's showing the property value listed at $0, which is really concerning to me. And, can we put a lien on the property if they owe the city money? So this is just kind of things that are in the back of my mind. And then my last question, to the chair, this is WC matters. I'm just curious what that means. I don't know what WC matters means. Thank you.
Workman's comp.
Thank you.
All right, thank you. Okay, I do have a couple more questions. I'm gonna make sure everybody else goes before me, because I talked at length before. Okay, what's that?
I said I can't address one of Eric's concerns.
Go ahead.
We were supposed to have a hearing last Friday on reimbursement of the city for the expenses, by the building department. However, there were no judges available to hear that last Friday, so it was moved to this Friday. So we should be hearing this Friday, depending on the availability of judges at the house.
Is that for the silver brick?
Pardon?
Is that for the silver brick?
Yes.
Okay, just for the record, so he'll, okay, it's for, so, okay. Thank you, that's why I wanted to make sure, because you didn't say that, and I want it for the record, so she could put that in the notes. Okay, so, no one again, last and final time around, no one? Okay, so we're here to, about the $100,000, I held it up till tonight, so I'm gonna need, to get a motion to approve or not to approve, the motion on the $100,000, so that we can get it to our, Agnes can get it in tomorrow for the February 7th final meeting for their vote for finance.
Motion to approve.
Motion to approve, the $100,000,
Right, 100,000.
okay?
Could we get what that's gonna be used for?
Yes, Jim, it does say in here, it's being used for, partially for Jeff Neese's case, and the other one, $36,000 for Lou Moore, $64,000 for the Jeff Neese case.
Okay, what was the other one for? The other one again,
Lou Moore is the
not
one
the Nice
for
case.
Uniroyal. Lou Moore is for Uniroyal, Jim.
Okay, all right, at least now we know what we're voting on, and, and I don't have a problem if we gotta, as long as we know what we're voting on, but now we know what the $100,000 is for. I think these are bills we owe. We probably have no choice but to pay the bill.
Thank you. So the motion on the floor, I'm going to second the motion to approve. Oh, can I get a roll call, please?
Lamb,
Yes.
Dombrowski.
Yes.
Valakir,
Yes.
Labrie,
Yes.
Tillotson,
Yes,
Brooks.
Yes.
Thank you, Shane. Gary, could you put Shane as favorable? And Jim as favorable? And this will go on the,
Thank you, gentlemen.
February 7th.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay.
Have a good night.
Good night, Jim.
Good night.
motion, we're not gonna accept the minutes?
Hold on, Jim, let me just, okay, the motion was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Someone's not here.
You have Jim Tilton.
Oh, here, Gary, put Jim Tilton too, please.
Oh, Jim is at the bottom.
Thank you, Jim's not on that yet, thank you. Hold on, Jim, we just gotta put you as in favor.
10,000.
Now we have 6 in favor, none opposed, and the motion passed. Okay, now, Jim, we have you, again, you have the minutes for,
Yeah, minutes of
June
April 12th, 2022 and June 30th, 2022.
thank you. Motion to approve the June 30th, 2022, and the, what's the other one?
April 12th.
April 13th, 2022 I have here, so, on mine.
Funny, I got 12 on mine.
What's it say?
It says April 12th, 2022 and June 30th, 2022.
Okay. We'll go for either one of those, but here it says, I'll go with this one, Jim, because it says April 13th in the file. And it doesn't really, it'll be there. Thank you, Jim.
Okay.
Roll call,
Yeah.
please.
Sutherland,
Yes.
Kuzarowski,
Yes.
Pelletier,
Yes.
Labrie,
Yes.
Tillotson,
Yes.
Yes.
6 yes, and the motion passes. Okay, we'll take a motion to
Motion to.
adjourn?
Adjourn. Motion to adjourn.
Roll call.
Sutherland,
Yes.
Kuzarowski,
Yes.
Pelletier,
Yes.
Labrie,
Yes.
Tillotson,
Yes.
Yes.
Thank you, and the motion passes. Thank you, everyone. Have a great night.